Okay, so this is Econometrics. Andy Ball, using it. My name is George Diemer. I'll introduce this one class. My understanding that we sent you an email or we posted something on Blackboard for you all to complete. How many people did not get that assignment? Okay. How many people did get it? Okay. How many people had practically no problem with it? Okay. How many people really struggled with it? How many people couldn't run regressions on it? Okay. It's my assumption that, well, let me ask you this. Is anybody in here not familiar with regression analysis? Does everybody have that? Okay. So a couple people are a little shaky on it. Who here, how many people are confident when it comes to regression analysis? Confident. Somewhat? I think you could maybe describe it a little bit, as best you could. Would you mind showing that backward from me? Nah. What do you think? Could you maybe describe it for a class?
Sure. Well, graphically, but pictorially, the way I always think about it is sort of drawing a line through a series of points, a line that sort of best approximates the trend. I think of it like as a goodness of fit line. And so you get y equals c plus mx form,
Right.
and then standard output, the one that pretty much everyone knows, your R squared coefficient.
Okay.
And it tells you how good all those points fit around that line.
Good. Very good. Does anybody know what kind of statistical packages can run regressions? Yes.
Just about all.
What kind are those? Okay. Okay. Excel. Okay. And Buck put R on his website. Is he still using that, I assume? I don't know if he's using it, but that's an option that he has, right? Which is the text? Is he still using the book?
Green.
And I think that has some packages that have a statistical package with it. Anything before? No. I think they will not use it. So I guess, you know, trying to learn R, trying to get a feel for how to use R, how to run regressions in R, and how to interpret the results. It's kind of cumbersome. R is a relatively difficult program to use, but it's very flexible, has to be very flexible. And that's because you can, and you have to go through the process, and the painful process oftentimes of downloading information and trying to gather information that people are willing to post for free, because it is a free program and there are no license restrictions based on it. Basically, people who just really want to kind of help people out, and so they come together and they run a program that actually happens to run an awful lot like S plus, like you guys used S before. So if you have any sort of familiarity with S, which is kind of like a heavily statistical oriented program, and chances are you'll probably be able to pick up the language of R relatively easily. The reason why Dr. Buck probably put R on his website and recommended that you use it, or at least look into it, is because it is free. I don't know if that's the one that you recommend for you to do. How many people did their regressions on R? How many people use something else? Okay. How many people did not run the regression? Oh, okay. I guess basically what I'd like to do is introduce you a little bit to econometrics, talk to you a little bit about the benefits of using it, just show the very basics of what we were talking about. What's your name again? Frank. Basics of what Frank was talking about with regards to fitting what we would call OLS, ordinary least squares, line around a series of observations, and maybe give you a general feel for what econometrics is about. For those of you, that might not know very much about econometrics, basically the assets of it are tremendous once you get out of college. You can put it on your resume, you can say that you understand econometrics, you can say that you use statistical packages. Anytime that you have an opportunity, right now you're taking an econometrics class, you certainly want to be able to take and harness the opportunity to be able to formulate a really good regression analysis, be able to do good regression analysis, and be able to say that on the resume. If you go to potential employers and you say that you have some familiarity with regression analysis, it really opens up the door for an awful lot of different types of jobs that are out there. And if you want to take it to the next step, there are other types of econometrics that you can learn. I'm not sure how much of it we'll end up getting into, but you might learn things like cluster analysis or testing empirical probability density functions and things like that. Probably in this class, I would imagine that you would stick to regression analysis, just OLS. But if the door is open and if you feel comfortable and confident in working with regression analysis, then taking the opportunity to learn maybe like a COVID model or something like that, any other little tweaking of a regression analysis is also very, very impressive. You put it on your resume. You know, say, I know regression analysis, OLS, and I've also done COVID models or something like that. And again, the statistical packages, there's an awful lot of new ones that are out there. Anytime that there's an opportunity to be able to list on your resume, I have familiarity using S and SPSS and R or whatever it might be. That's certainly a pretty nice thing to put on your resume as well. I'm not sure what software he's using. When I took the course, which was a while ago, we could use pretty much anything that we wanted, but it was kind of recommended that we use a reputable statistical package. You can use Excel, which is easy. Everybody has Excel. Everybody has access to Excel. And there's a way to download the program, I forget what they call it. It's like
Data
a
analysis toolkit, I think, yeah, or add-in.
So there's a way to download that, and so you have that at your disposal. Now you can do that. Excel, for the most part, though, it's kind of frowned upon in the statistical community. It does not recognize the absolute importance of having data right next to each other and how absolutely vital that is. So I'm working right now doing research on college basketball games. I have 40,000 observations. Well, all it takes is for Excel to one time flip all those down and everything's lost and I have to start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of other programs, that's just an example. Sometimes it just kind of fluky things happen. Other programs make sure that those fluky things don't happen as opposed to Excel. It doesn't really place as much weight on that, or importance, I should say, on that. Another thing about Excel is that you might have too many observations. There might be a limit. So Excel, I believe, has 56 or 60,000, 64 rows. So if I were splicing my data up in a certain way, I wouldn't have been able to use Excel. Other programs are much larger than that. Also, converting your data, a lot of times, some of these programs are better in using one analysis than another. If you're running a regression, you might want to use something, if you want something that has nice pictures and display a real nice picture for you, if you're giving a presentation at a conference or something like that, you might want to use something else. And so moving your data around is usually not that difficult, but it is with Excel. For some reason, for example, if you're using R, getting your data from Excel in R is actually a pretty difficult thing. Does anybody have a problem doing that by any chance? No? Well, it's just an example of when you collect data and you use Excel, you can do it. You can run regressions on Excel, but it's probably not the best way to do it. That's generally speaking what people usually say about it. Any other questions?